Alright, I'm back to rating albums. Like in the last video, I'll be going through a handful of albums, well or not so well known, and I'll be rating them from 1 to 10, trash to perfect, and giving some thoughts. I want to point out that some albums I might call a 10 out of 10, might not get a 10 out of 10 score in these videos. Someone told me recently that they consider an album to be 10 out of 10 when every song on the album is also a 10 out of 10, and there's no skips, no misses, and that's why I'm basing the score here on that. I personally consider an album 10 out of 10 when just the whole listening experience is incredible, or it was so good that it genuinely had an emotional or inspirational impact on me, like for instance getting me into a whole new music genre. Next, I was told it would be good to have something to go off rather than just talking about the album. Therefore, I'm going to try and put a bit of my favorite track of each album in the background while I'm talking about it. I don't fully understand how the copyright system on here works yet, so hopefully it'll work. If not, I'll just have some other music in the background. Lastly, I found my voice was a bit unexpressive in my last video, so I'm going to try and improve on that. And that's all, so now onto the ratings. So, first we have Pilgrimage by Wishbone Ash, and this came out in 1971. This is a progressive rock, hard rock, jazz fusion, and folk rock album. It has some great drumming, great bass and guitar. I found the intro on The Pilgrim at first was only okay, because it's kind of long, and I thought it was a bit repetitive, until it went into the main part and it turned out to be my favorite track. Valediction also has some great lyrics, and they sound especially good with headphones. I gave this one an 8.9 out of 10. Next we have Shinsekai by Midori. This came out in 2010. This is a progressive rock, hard rock, jazz fusion and folk rock album. I first was intrigued by this because I read it was a Japanese jazz punk album, both of which are genres I very much enjoy. The vocals are okay. I'm not a big fan of shouting in songs. Shouting with a melody or in tune I enjoy, like for instance heavy metal or in other punk things, but I don't really want to listen to just someone screaming in my ear for the whole song. I did however get more used to the shouting and singing later on, if you can call it singing, even though it was a little out of tune. Considering it's punk, I wasn't surprised, but it still didn't change my opinion. Sadly, some of the instrumental from the album was also ruined by that, as from a jazz perspective, it was really good, even if a little crazy. I gave this one a 6.5 out of 10. Then we have A Place Between Us by Okvsho. This came out last year. It is a contemporary jazz and fusion album. It has very crisp percussion and instruments, and a very nice brass composition. I definitely liked all the track names, they're quite creative. Even though I have little to say, I can definitely recommend this one. I gave this one an 8.2 out of 10. The next album is Orchard by Ryler Smith. This came out this year. It is a hip-hop album. Now, this one's by a friend of mine, but honestly, I went in with an open mind and a complete unbiased mindset. It was very chill, it has some great production, some of the lyrics are very fun, and I find his flows pretty good. I gave this an 8.6 out of 10. The next album is IV, or 4, I guess, and this is by Bad Bad Not Good. It came out in 2016. It is a jazz, hip-hop, contemporary R&B, electronica and lounge music album. Again, I don't have too much to say here, but I guess that's kind of the point of these videos. It has nice switches between chill and quiet to loud and energetic, and I thought the saxophone was amazing. I gave this one an 8.3 out of 10. Next we have Resavoir by Resavoir, and this came out in 2019. It is an alternative indie and jazz album. This one had lovely harmonies, some great usage of effects, and the horns were amazing. I gave this an 8.4 out of 10. Then we have Troupeau Bleu by Cortex, and this came out in 1975. It is a funk, soul music, psychedelic rock, and bossa nova album. It had some very nice bass sounds, some nice vocals. One thing I noticed while listening was that one of the songs was used as a sample in one of my favorite MF Doom tracks, and another one was used in a sample in a Loop Fiasco song. I gave this one an 8.5 out of 10. Then we have Ginkgo by Panchiko. This came out this year. It is an indie rock, neo-psychedelia and art rock album. This is their latest album, and personally, I didn't think it was their most solid. I did prefer the other albums more, but it has since grown on me. It has very nice guitar and a very chilled out, laid back vibe. I gave it a 7.8 out of 10. Next we have Gestures Bean by They Are Gutting a Body of Water, and this came out in 2018. This is an alternative rock, shoegaze, lo-fi and slowcore album. It had very nice bass and nice vocals, and it definitely has that typical shoegazy sound. I gave it a 7.4 out of 10. And the last album is In Rainbows by Radiohead, and this came out in 2007. It is an alternative rock, electronic music, art rock, experimental rock, electronica, art pop and new prog album. This is one of my favorite albums in general, so I have listened to it a lot before, but I was listening to it again and thought there might still be some people who haven't listened to any Radiohead or the album in particular, and I thought I would recommend it in case they want to give it a go. It has a great mixture of sound and amazing harmonies, some very nice bass riffs and interesting use of effects, and it has some nice lyrics. This one I gave a 9.1 out of 10. I think this was a bit of a quicker video than the last one. Even still, I hope there was some things that some people might find interesting. If you do listen to any of the albums, or you have listened to them before, please let me know if you agree with my opinion, and I'll see you in the next video.